Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today I am going to review Toy Story 5. When Pixar first announced this movie, I was honestly scared for this film, which every time they've come out with a new Toy Story post 3, I have been scared for the final result, since Toy Story 3 gave us the perfect ending to the Andy trilogy, but when 4 was announced, people thought it was unnecessary. But as one of its defenders, providing a satisfying closure to Woody's arc, but then came 2024 and Toy Story 5. Do I think a 5th Toy Story needed to exist? Well, no. But as someone who grew up on the Toy Story movies, which do continue to still hold up to this day, and despite being unnecessary, I actually really enjoy myself with this one. And this does manage to talk about a modern topic in a thoughtful way. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Starting off with the story and its themes, one of the things that managed to surprise me with Toy Story 5 is how it managed to build upon Jessie's character in Toy Story 2, since she has struggled with abandonment since her original owner Emily gave her up, which Andy then passed on his toys to Bonnie, Jessie included. But Toy Story 5 takes Jessie's character further, as she does worry about losing Bonnie to Lilypad. This is why Toy Story 5 managed to justify its existence well without shoving callbacks to Toy Story 2 for nostalgia reasons, which does work in the context of the story. The movie does explore how modern technology has had an impact on childhoods today, thanks to Bonnie's relationship with Lilypad, and the new tech toys that we meet throughout the movie, which may seem boring and cliche at first, but Toy Story 5 does not do this the easy way, since the film understands that technology is here to stay, and provides the message on how technology should be used responsibly, and the heartbreaking commentary on cyberbullying thanks to Bonnie being made fun of for still playing with toys exposes the harsh reality of how kids are these days with technology. The new tech toys, particularly in Smarty Pants, Snappy, and Atlas, aren't just thrown in there for the sake of toys versus tech. They all serve a purpose in progressing the plot into the next point, such as Smarty Pants communicating with Lilypad, Atlas helping with navigation in the climax, and Snappy can send photos, which does end up becoming important in finding Lilypad after she disposes of herself in the climax. The only real plot hole I noticed when watching Toy Story 5 is that if the toys are communicating through devices, I would think that someone, human-wise, was going to read those conversations and appearing in other people's chat history, especially Bonnie and Blaze, which, to be fair, I am surprised they did not address that. Now moving on to the animation and the presentation. Visually, Toy Story 5 looks incredible, which is to be expected from Pixar, which the animation is always one thing that Pixar are consistent with, even going with new styles for films like Turning Red and recently Hoppers. The animation quality still looks as good as Toy Story 4, but the new tech toys that entered the mix did bring in some personality. But this time, there is one element in the animation that stood out, and that's the imagination sequences, which create a visual distinction between reality and Bonnie's imagination, which do make the scenes feel unique whenever they appear. I like the choice that they made here, and these scenes are the ones that stood out from the rest of the movie. The score in the film is fantastic, and even though parts of the score do reuse themes from other Toy Story movies, the legendary Randy Newman still proves why he is important to the Toy Story franchise, even with the new arrangement staying true to Toy Story as a franchise. Although I did find it odd that this was the only of the 5 Toy Story movies not to include You've Got a Friend in Me, and it's like the one song that has been associated with Toy Story since I was a kid, and it was strange that it wasn't there. Now we're moving on to the characters and the acting. While Woody and Buzz Lightyear don't receive any new development in this film, their chemistry is still as strong as it is in other movies. But the real focus this time is on Jessie, which, after Monsters University focusing on Mike and Finding Dory focusing on Dory, it only felt right that they would do this with Jessie at some point. And I think they made the right decision making the film focusing on her and not Woody or Buzz. In terms of the returning cast, most of the classic toys don't get a huge amount of screen time as they did in 2 and 3, which is one criticism people had with Toy Story 4. But I didn't mind it here, because as good as 3 was, with how big the gang has grown over time, it may feel overcrowded to bring all of them along. So I'm glad that they didn't make the movie overcrowded this time. Which, yes, there were 50 high-tech Buzz Lightyears, but that was a different argument. It was also nice seeing some underrated characters from Toy Story 4 again, such as Duke Kaboom, Ducky and Bunny, despite Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele not returning to play them, and Forky. The newcomers were surprisingly fun as well. Lilypad is an interesting one because her arc could have easily felt repetitive with a lot of other media's seen out there. But the idea of a character learning what's best for their child or even person is something I have seen before in Inside Out 2 with Anxiety, but Toy Story 5 does not repeat Inside Out 2, since instead of Lilypad being told that she's wrong, like Anxiety in the climax of Inside Out 2, Lilypad learns based on her own experiences, which after seeing Bonnie upset, she learns about her situation and takes in that Jessie was right. Not by Jessie herself directly telling her, but based on her own experiences, which is how it avoided repeating Inside Out 2. I also really did enjoy the new AA team in Smarty Pants, played by Conan O'Brien, Snappy, and Atlas, who surprisingly, Craig Robinson in a Pixar film? Like, what? These guys literally had to be the funniest in the movie. And while I have outgrown toilet humor over the years, it works for Smarty Pants. The voice acting still holds up, but I can occasionally hear the aging in some of the veteran performance. And Toy Story 5 did have 5 different characters recast, despite Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and Joan Cusack all reprising their roles from previous installments. Recast, we have Mr. Potato Head due to the passing of Don Rickles, Mrs. Potato Head due to the passing of Estelle Harris, Combat Carl due to the passing of Carl Weathers, Bonnie due to her voice actor in 4 growing too old to reprise, and Mr. Pricklepants due to scheduling conflicts. Like, I don't think these replacements did a bad job at, like, recasting these characters, but I think they got the replacements for Mr. Potato Head and Combat Carl just right. And Mrs. Potato Head and Mr. Pricklepants barely spoke, and while Bonnie does sound different each installment. Even though I was extremely scared going into Toy Story 5, especially with the main villain being a tablet, which led me to fear that the movie would have tons of excessive brain rot. But Toy Story 5 was actually surprisingly good. Not as good as Toy Story 3, not as good as Inside Out 2, and I don't think it surpasses Zootopia 2 either. But it did just about managed to outrank Hoppers. It succeeds at telling both a story that expands Jessie's arc from Toy Story 2 and providing a heartbreaking commentary about how technology has had an impact on childhoods today. Pixar did manage to avoid that trap, as this is a movie that has accepted that technology has become a part of our lives, rather than simply having technology disappear. And for that, Toy Story 5 has earned an 8 out of 10. Toy Story 5 may not have needed to exist, but even if I have friends that won't agree with me on this statement, I'm glad it does. It's not perfect, but coming out with 2 Pixar films on the same level of quality in the same year is a miracle. With 2026 having Hoppers, which I also enjoyed, and Toy Story 5. But the main question is, before I end this video, where does Toy Story 5 land on my 2020s Disney ranking? Well, it currently ranks 7th place, in between Encanto and Elio. So guys, what do you think of my Toy Story 5 review? I mean, it's gonna be a while until I complete my Disney ranking, so I thought I would make this video as like a bonus to hold people over until the video is complete. And who knows, maybe I'll review Hexed in November and actually confirm where that falls in the 2020s rankings. So, don't forget to subscribe to either of my channels, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss more parts of the Disney ranking in the future. And I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.